So anything in your life that, you've overcome or you're good at that you just think, well, that's just me. I don't, why would anyone else want to know about it? But there are people who don't know how to do what you do and would love you to help them.
Did you push record?
Thanks so much for tuning into Second Act TV. Today, I'd like to welcome a new content expert to Second Act, Carla Rieger. Carla, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Carla is the CEO of the Artistry of Change Training Incorporated. And in case you want to know what that is, Carla is a communication skills, a mindset, and business growth expert. And she particularly works with people, all over the world to help them live a more successful, passionate life. A lot of people in our demographic, of course, 50 and over, are looking to recreate, but what are we going to, what am I going to do? And you don't realize that at this point, how much you've acquired that can actually be brought to market, if you will. Talk to me about that. How do you help people identify their passion, their creativity, and put that to work?
Yeah, well, almost everyone we work with is over 50. And when you hit 50 and beyond, you have this strong calling to share your wisdom. And if you're not in a role that lets you do that, it can be really frustrating. It can be this sort of, it's like creativity that doesn't have an outlet. And so we're really into giving people the outlet. And these days, just like what you're doing, with YouTube or, podcasts or speaking at different events or coaching people online, you can live from anywhere in the world and share your wisdom. And people need the wisdom of older people. They always have and they always will. But something, as you probably know, in this culture doesn't, always validate that. And so that's my mission and goal.
Well, I'm completely on board with you. I'm so on board with that because obviously that was me, and we talk about this in Second Act all the time, is that you hit this milestone. 50 for some reason is an awakening because you realize that more than half of your life is over. I like to say half your life is over, but that's if you're really super lucky. And you realize how fast those first 50 years went, i.e. your adult years, so it's 30 years. And, again, if we're lucky, we have 30 more years left. And either out of need or just the sheer want of wanting to do more, explore more, come into our real self, we go out and seek, but a lot of us don't think it's possible.
Everyone's so different. And sometimes people think, well, I had this job for X number of years, and how would I ever turn that into a coaching or consulting or speaking thing? But often, what you did as a job, it could be consulting, but sometimes, you spent a lifetime, like with one of our clients, living a life alcohol-free, for example. And she just learned how to do that really young. And just over the years, she was always helping people who think, I think I'm drinking a bit too much. And they're not like alcoholics or whatever, but she just had a way of saying, this is how I live my life. And I go to events and I don't have a drink and I don't have a hangover in the morning. And it's really helped my diabetes and it's made my arthritis go down. And then they're like, oh, tell me more. And could you help me and support me? And after a while, she thought, this is taking a lot of my time. I should probably charge people. And the good thing was when she charged people, they actually took her advice and used it because they thought, well, I paid for it. I'm going to, do something with it. And she can work from anywhere in the world and she loves to travel. So she can just get on Zoom or Skype and be helping people all over the world now. So that's just an example. Mm-hmm. So anything in your life that, you've overcome or you're good at that you just think, well, that's just me. I don't, why would anyone else want to know about it? But there are people who don't know how to do what you do and would love you to help them.
Again, a lot of us think what you just said, it was a great point. Well, that's just me. Why would anybody want to know about this? And again, for this segment, I want people just to put that thought out of your head and think about what you're passionate about and what is it that you think you might be able to do. And to your point, as even a speaker or a coach. Oh my God, you say speaking and people freak out. uh, but now that we have like YouTube, anybody can have a podcast, anybody can have a YouTube channel. The possibilities, if you open yourself up to them, are there, right?
Right, for sure. And often, it's not like public speaking. I have to be a Toastmasters and never say or like it can be like what we're doing right now. It's like an interview. So it's just a conversation that happens to be recorded. And then people tend to be a lot more natural. Obviously I teach public speaking and coaching and all that. So it helps to get training, and there's lots of people that train. But just the more you do it, the more you get good at it. And I just really think that if you just look at your life and think, what do people say about you? That, I love it because you always help me feel more calm, or you help me sort through conflicts. Or, I had this woman I bumped into the other day because I was selling something on Facebook Marketplace. She came over and she says, "Oh my God, I used to do your hair." And I said, "Oh, great. Yeah, it was so nice to see you again." She goes, "I always remember you because I was sitting in the chair with you years ago and you told me how to resolve a conflict with my boyfriend. And it totally worked. And I've used what you told me ever since." And she said, "You should do that for a living." Of course, I did do that for a living, after that. But, I'd heard that a lot, that I'm very good at helping people create peace with the people in their life. So that just would be an example of what you could look for in terms of an expertise to bring to the world.
Well, that's a great tip. So would you advise people to like seek out maybe some of your really like good friends or former bosses, or just somebody that gives you an honest answer? Sometimes, it's, well, you're asking for something good. You're not asking for critique. So maybe it's easier to get that input. Is that what you would suggest?
Yeah, absolutely. Like how do I make the world better from your opinion? And it could be a way you are, or it could be something you're passionate about. Like you're passionate about, as I am, helping people over 50 live a full, abundant, fulfilled life. So it can't, maybe you don't know a lot about it, but you're so passionate about it, you're willing to do whatever it takes to learn and to connect with all the other people doing that. So that's just another area to look.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because for me, because I had heard that from people like yourself. It's like, oh, there's so much. And I was like, well, what do I know? Well, I've been a producer, always behind the scenes. I kind of enjoy, on camera. I did a few things. But what it finally came down to me is that I'm not really an expert in anything. But I like bringing people who are experts together, and that's how we conceived, Second Act. I don't have advice to give. I mean, I have opinions, but I wouldn't call myself an expert. That's why I always have experts like yourself on the show, and maybe somebody else. You can do it in a book. You can do this. There's plenty of room on YouTube. But that, I guess, it would be my example.
Yeah, example. You're like a curator, and that's a totally other way to go with it, is you bring groups together. And so that's perfect example.
Yeah. Well, we're coming to the end of the segment. To sum this up, to get somebody motivated to really think about, discovering their creativity, what would you leave our audience with?
Well, in your show notes, I'll give a link to a free process. It's called the Discover Your Passion worksheet. And you just kind of do a big brainstorm. It's like, where's my credibility? Where's my life experience? What's my academic experience? What's my work experience? What have I learned as a student of life? And you combine that, and then you think, who are the kind of people that I love to help? Who are the people I love to be around? And then you start to create a connection between those two. And then in the third, you just start to see, well, how could I take all my passions and background and apply it to that particular type of community? And all of a sudden, all these ideas start coming of ways you could help those people. And so it's just a fun little, 20-minute process. So give it a try and see what you come up with. People have created whole new careers based on that one little 20-minute process.
Oh, that's terrific. No, thank you. I'll look at it myself. Maybe I can get some more ideas. Well, Carla, thank you so much. We're obviously going to link to all of your information if people want to get in touch with you directly. You have all sorts of training, and you have 6 books, you have 20 online learning programs. So there's lots of wealth that you offer, a wealth of information. And I want to hold you over now. So now that we've discovered or are willing to discover what it is that we might put out there in the world, let's talk about how to make that happen. And 2 of the biggest obstacles, of course, are confidence and fear of failure. So I want to spend some time talking about that. So we'll see you in our next segment of Second Act TV. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. Just click on through to YouTube, and when you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too. We'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.